Same face, new habit. First new habit in 11 years. Hope you like it. Hey, I'm Father Mark Mary with the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal, and this is Ascension Presents. Today we're going to talk about praying the Mass even better, entering more deeply into the mystery, and really diving deep into the beauty and the truth and the goodness that we celebrate each and every sacrifice of the Most Holy Eucharist. To catch you up on where I'm coming from, I'm on a bit of a, you could call it like an anti-sophistication bent, or maybe in the positive, like a pro-fundamentals kind of kick. And it's just like there's so many good and beautiful and interesting Christian resources, and sometimes I'm afraid that we can kind of get a little bit distracted, and we're missing out on some of the more core essential components of our faith life, our prayer life in particular. And the idea comes to mind, like I grew up playing basketball, and like young kids, right? You want to go and you want to do like your between the legs dribble, behind the back, turn around 3-pointer in the corner, and like you want to practice that. It's fun, or chucking half-court shots, right? But any good coach can be like, okay, like we got to practice the fundamentals. We got to make sure you can dribble with both hands, with your eyes up. We got to make sure you can pass. We got to make sure you can hit free throws, play defense, spread the court, things like that. Like, all right, we can get to these other stuff, and there could be a place for them. But like, let's work on the fundamentals. Let's make sure those are really shored up, and let's not just do it at the beginning, but let's go back again and again and again. And what are some of these fundamentals of our Christian life, our Christian spiritual life in particular? I certainly think it's praying the Mass well. I certainly think it's praying the Rosary well. I certainly think it's learning how to really enter in and pray with the Scriptures. And also we want to include in there like how to make a holy hour, how to actually pray in front of the Blessed Sacrament, how to actually pray during a period of Eucharistic adoration. I think these are some like the really core fundamental components of our Catholic devotional life. And I really think it's worth our time to spend time and energy really kind of focusing on these areas of our life and really learning how to do these well. And once we've got this shored up, then we can start moving out a little bit wider with some of the more interesting complementary components of our faith life, our devotional life, etc. For now, what I really want to look at is learning how to, like, going deeper in the celebration of the Most Holy Eucharist, the Mass, right? Like, it's the source and summit of our faith. It's the most important thing we do. But we often don't really know what's going on. We often don't really know like what we're supposed to do, and it's so rich. In this video, I'm going to propose a couple resources, a couple places to pray, and to do a little bit of studying, to go even deeper in the celebration of the Most Holy Eucharist. And firstly, I'm going to propose this. It'd be great to revisit what we call the institution narratives, those gospel passages in the New Testament, which recount the institution of the Eucharist. And so those can be found in the Synoptic Gospels, which are Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and we'll include the links down below, right? So this is, it's Matthew 26:20, Mark 14:17, Luke 22:14, 1 Corinthians 11:23. So St. Paul has a nice institution narrative as well. It'd be really great to go back and to pray with those, just again, like, oh, hey, look, Jesus was there at the first Mass, right? Like, it's great just to be reminded of and to enter in again to the beauty and the truth that this is a gift from Jesus himself, handed on to the apostles and passed down through the centuries by the apostles as well, right? And also, right, the Gospel of John doesn't have what we call an institution narrative, but it does have this beautiful discourse on the bread of life in John chapter 6. And so going there and revisiting John 6 and really hearing Jesus say these words like, my flesh is true food, my blood is true drink, and see what's going on as Jesus gives us this gift par excellence, the most blessed sacrament, the most holy Eucharist. Secondly, again, we're talking fundamentals. So we're at Scripture. Number two for us, like the Catechism is this really incredible resources and place of really kind of getting back to the basics. And the section on the sacrament of the Eucharist is absolutely a treasure chest of truth and goodness and information about the Eucharist and about the Mass, about the different titles we use for the Mass, why we use them, what they mean, the Mass as sacrament, as meal, as communion, as paschal mystery. Like, what all this means is really beautifully laid out and communicated in the Catechism. I can't stress enough how good this resource is, and how rich with truth. And as we understand what we're doing, we're able to value it so much more and enter even more deeply into this great gift and mystery, which is the Holy Eucharist, which we celebrate in the sacrifice of the Mass. I'm going to throw out 3 books. Number 1 is this. This is from Dr. Sri, right? It's called A Biblical Walk Through the Mass. My friends, this is, when we're talking gold and we're talking fundamentals, we're talking about this. And Dr. Sri does an incredible job going through like the sign of the cross, the Lord be with you, the Gloria, the Collect, the Creed, the different readings. Like how often, right, we're doing these things and we don't really know what we're doing. And because we don't really know what we're doing, we don't know where it comes from, we don't know where it means, it remains just a routine, right? And what Dr. Sri does incredibly well, very on brand for him, is takes these really fundamental components of our faith, which have really deep and beautiful and rich theological and historical significance, and he breaks them open for us and makes them incredibly accessible for everybody. I just made my yearly solitude retreat, and I took this book with me as one of the resources, as just a reminder of like, okay, the Mass is the most important thing I do every day. I want to keep studying and remembering what I'm doing, especially the most basic things. I can't recommend this book enough. Super accessible for everybody, really easy read, really fundamental, really helpful and practical to implement and to enrich your life right away. Here's an oldie but goodie. It's called Preparing Yourself for Mass by Romano Guardini. Absolute champion, absolute stud, absolute gem of a book. And again, just goes like super practical, what's happening, how to enter into it, what it means, how to pray with it. And my friends, like this is the good stuff. This is the good stuff. Pope Benedict, as Cardinal Ratzinger, he wrote the Spirit of the Liturgy, which is a classic. It's a little bit more heady, a little bit more theological, but incredibly rich. And again, if you can read it, if you can carve out the time for it, like I just think it's a great resource and incredibly helpful for our spiritual lives, especially against the source and summit of our spiritual life, the source and summit of our worship, which is the Most Holy Eucharist. And if it's so important, right, shouldn't our study and shouldn't our preparation and shouldn't our entering into it like communicate this value, right? And so my brothers and sisters, I thank you for watching. I thank you for being open to this invitation to get back to the fundamentals in the spiritual life. I think that really putting in some work so that you can really enter more deeply into the mystery of the Most Holy Eucharist, I don't think you'll regret it even the slightest bit. I think it's a game changer. I think it's an eye-opener. And doing a little study, carving out a little time, putting a little work is a beautiful expression of gratitude for the gift par excellence, which is the Most Holy Eucharist, which is Jesus' own body, blood, soul, and divinity, his very self. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting this to practice. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Remember, we are pilgrims on this earth. Somos peregrinos, poco a poco, little by little. Vamos a llegar. We're going to make it. God bless you all.